Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. This is episode 3.
Great to be back.
Today, we are diving headfirst, really, into a book that, well, it challenges a lot of assumptions we have about work, about success, even about effort itself. We're exploring Effortless, Make It Easier to Do What Matters Most by Greg McKeown. And this is all part of the Pod and the Page series you can find on the Last Highlight YouTube channel. So glad you're with us.
Yeah, it's a really interesting book, I think, particularly because it pushes back against this idea that, anything worthwhile has to be super difficult.
Right. That struggle is necessary.
Exactly.
Right.
But what if that belief is actually the thing holding us back?
That really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? And there's this one quote. It just nails the whole book's message for me. It really struck me, actually, so much so we put it right there in the video thumbnail.
Oh, yeah. Which one?
McKeown writes, "Here is what I realized. Behind almost every failure of my whole life, I had made the same error. When I'd failed, it was rarely because I hadn't tried hard enough. It was because I'd been trying too hard."
Wow. Yeah, that's powerful. It just flips the script entirely, doesn't it?
Completely.
And, for those of you listening, maybe reading along or just thinking about how to capture insights like that, especially if you read on an ebook reader, there's this amazing app called Readwise.
Oh, Readwise is fantastic.
It really is. It lets you capture your highlights, resurface them later. It honestly changes how you interact with the books you read.
Yeah, it stops those great ideas from just disappearing after you finish the book. We find it super useful. We'll put a link for Readwise down in the video description if you want to check it out.
Definitely worth a look.
So, okay, our mission for this deep dive. Let's unpack the core ideas, maybe some surprising bits from Effortless. We want to help you figure out how to make the important stuff feel easier, maybe even more enjoyable.
And ultimately get more done without, hitting that wall.
Exactly, without the burnout. Let's get into it.
Okay, so the fundamental idea, the core premise here, is challenging that belief that hard work, grinding, is the only way to succeed.
Yeah, the book argues pretty strongly that path often leads to, well, diminishing returns. You work harder and harder, but get less and less back.
And eventually you just burn out.
Right, and it kicks off with a really stark example. Patrick McGinnis.
Ah, yes, the finance guy.
Exactly. Did everything right. Top schools, top firm, AIG. Worked insane hours, 80-hour weeks. Even on vacation, always the last one there.
He really bought into that whole hustle culture idea. Believed those endless hours were the definition of success.
He literally worked himself sick. Pushing, like Boxer in Animal Farm, right? I will work harder.
Yeah, that was his default.
Yeah.
Then 2008 happens. AIG basically collapses. His stock tanks, like 97% drop.
Ouch.
All those hours, all those missed family events suddenly seemed, pointless.
And that's when he had this big realization. He said, the marginal return of working harder was, in fact, negative.
Meaning the extra effort was actually hurting him?
Exactly. So he pivoted. He stepped down from his demanding role, stopped the 80-hour weeks, started going home at 5, even emailed less.
And what happened?
He started investing in startups, worked maybe half the hours, but actually made more money. And the work itself felt different. He said, it doesn't even feel like work anymore.
That's incredible. And it really drives home the point that burnout isn't like a badge of honor you should wear.
No, it's a sign you've gone too far. There's a limit to how much effort is actually effective.
So the effortless way, as McKeown calls it, isn't about slacking off or doing less overall. It builds on his previous book, Essentialism. It's about doing the right things in the right way.
Making the essential things easier. And he uses that NBA free throw analogy, which I thought was really clear.
Yeah, it's good. You see the player, totally fluid, right?
Yeah.
But he breaks it down.
First, there's getting into the zone, clearing your head, focusing. That's the effortless state.
Right. Mindset first. Then comes the actual shot, the practiced movement, the mechanics. Elbow just so.
Yeah.
Until it's just automatic. Muscle memory. That's effortless action.
And finally, the result, the swish. The ball going in consistently, effortless results.
So it contrasts the exhausting mindset, anything worth doing takes tremendous effort, with the effortless one. The most essential things can be the easiest ones.
That shift is huge. It's about achieving what you want without killing yourself in the process.
Okay, so how do we actually get into that effortless state? That's the first part of the book, right? Making it easier to focus.
Yeah, and it starts with a really simple but powerful question. Principle 1, invert. What if this could be easy?
I love this one. Because we're so conditioned to think the hard way is the right way or the only way.
Totally. So instead of asking, why is this so hard, you flip it. What if this could be easy?
And it's not just positive thinking. It's about challenging that assumption that difficulty equals value. It opens up new possibilities.
He tells that story about Kim Jenkins, the university administrator. Remember that one?
Vaguely. Refresh my memory.
She needed to record a whole semester of classes. Normally, that's months of work for her video team, right? Huge project.
Okay, yeah.
But instead of just jumping in, she paused and asked that question. Is there an easier way?
And was there.
Turned out the videos were only for one student who had a sports conflict.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. So the solution, just have another student record the lectures on their phone, costs her a couple of minutes of planning, done.
Wow. That's radical simplification just from asking the question.
Exactly. And there's that historical example, too, William Wilberforce trying to abolish the slave trade in Britain.
Right. He fought head-on for years and got nowhere.
Until someone suggested an indirect approach. Focus on the ships flying neutral flags, specifically American flags used by slave traders to avoid the British Navy.
Attacking the logistics, not the morality directly at that moment.
Precisely, and it worked. 2 months later, the Slave Trade Act passed. It shows that sometimes the easiest path isn't the direct confrontation.
Finding that flank, yeah. It's strategic, like Southwest Airlines, too.
Oh, yeah, the ticketing system. They needed a new one, potentially costing millions.
But Herb Keller, the co-founder, basically said, who cares what United thinks a ticket is? Let's define it ourselves.
And they just printed, this is a ticket on a piece of paper, save $2 million.
Just by questioning the norm, asking what's the simplest possible way. It reminds me of Warren Buffett looking for those one-foot bars to step over.
Yeah, don't make it harder than it needs to be. Find the easy wins.
Okay, so once we've inverted and asked what if it could be easy, the next step is about making the essential stuff, well, enjoyable.
Right. Principle 2. Enjoy. What if this could be fun? Pair the necessary with the nice.
And Gene Tueson's comic relief is such a brilliant example. Charity giving is essential, right? But maybe not always fun.
But a day of comedy, Red Nose Day. That is fun.
Exactly. She mashed them together, made giving enjoyable, something people anticipated. And they raised, what, £1 billion over 30 years.
Incredible. Because it was fun. People wanted to do it.
It changes the whole dynamic, like that Pinewood Derby story.
Oh, the dad and son who kept losing?
Yeah. They were miserable trying to win the race. So they changed their goal. Forget speed. Let's win the design award for style.
So they focus on the fun part.
And suddenly, they loved doing it. It wasn't a chore anymore. Transformed the whole experience.
My favorite example, though, is the author's family doing the dishes.
Oh, yeah. The cleanup karaoke.
Exactly. Tedious chore, right. But his daughter puts on Disney classics, and suddenly it's a dance party. Sweeping, wiping, singing.
Laughing. They turn drudgery into joy. Makes you think, doesn't it? What chore in your life could use a soundtrack?
Seriously. And this connects to what he calls habits with a soul.
Rituals, basically. Infusing meaning.
Like Marie Kondo thanking items, or Beethoven counting exactly 60 coffee beans.
Or Dali and his napping key trick.
Right. These little rituals make habits stick because they add something more than just the task itself. Psychological satisfaction, maybe?
Yeah, a bit of delight even. But sometimes, before you can find that ease or enjoyment, you need to clear out the mental junk drawer.
Which brings us to release. The power of letting go. Unburdening the mind.
Yeah, getting rid of the emotional and mental clutter that slows us down.
He uses that term stormtroopers, which I thought was quite vivid.
Yeah, like old goals you're still clinging to, grudges, unrealistic expectations.
Things just running in the background, draining your mental RAM.
Exactly. And complaining is a big one. He calls it an easy but trivial activity.
It really is, isn't it? And it just feeds itself. You complain, you notice more things to complain about.
It's toxic. It keeps those stormtroopers fueled up.
So the antidote he suggests is that gratitude habit. Each time I complain, I will say something I am thankful for.
And his wife Anna's story, with her difficult coworker, shows how powerful that can be.
Instead of getting sucked into negativity, she actively looked for things to appreciate about the coworker, even small things.
And over time, it actually changed the relationship. Built trust, even friendship.
Gratitude as a tool, not just a feeling. And then there's letting go of grudges.
Oof, that's a tough one for many people. But he asks that key question. What job have I hired this grudge to do?
That's insightful. What purpose is it serving? Often hidden ones, right? Like seeking attention, avoiding responsibility.
Yeah, keeping you stuck. And that story of Chris Williams forgiving the driver who killed his family, like minutes after it happened. It's almost unbelievable.
Breathtaking. But it shows the power of release. Holding on to anger just keeps you captive. Letting go frees up so much mental energy.
Okay, so mind clear. Next step is physical and mental energy. Rest. The art of doing nothing.
Which feels so countercultural, doesn't it? Rest is essential, not a luxury.
Totally. But the eye surgeon, Jerry Swale, his story makes the case perfectly.
Health problems forced him to cut back hours, sleep more like actually get 8 hours instead of 5 or 6.
And when a crisis hit, his partner retired unexpectedly, he had the reserves to handle it. Calmly, effectively.
Because he wasn't already running on empty. Less effort strategically made him more resilient.
And then there's Joe Madden, the baseball manager, his American Legion week.
Huh. Yeah, telling pro athletes in the middle of a grueling season to basically do nothing for a week, sleep in, take naps.
Sounds crazy. But his teams performed better. Tampa Bay went to the World Series. The Cubs won it.
They won like 21 out of 24 games during that rest week over 5 years.
It proves the rule he states. Do not do more today than you can completely recover from today. Same for the week.
Sustainable effort. It also touches on deep sleep, uninterrupted sleep. How much difference that makes.
Yeah, that professor who optimized his sleep saw huge jumps in deep sleep, felt way sharper.
And those power naps, like Dolly's key trick, little bursts of rest for big gains in focus and creativity.
It's about working with your body's rhythms, not against them.
Okay, final piece for the effortless state. Notice how to see clearly.
This is about moving beyond just looking, to actually observing, seeing what matters.
The Sherlock Holmes example is perfect. Watson sees the muddy shoes, but Holmes observes the details, the story they tell.
You see, but you do not observe. We all do that, right? We look at things all the time, but how much do we really notice?
Especially with all the distractions today, he calls them cataracts for our minds.
That's good. They cloud our vision of what's important. Like Steph Curry, his ability to process information on the court isn't magic.
It's trained focus. He sees the important stuff, filters out the noise.
And this applies hugely in relationships, too. The Gottman's research on bids for connection.
Oh yeah, those small attempts to connect.
And the worst response isn't turning against the bid, it's turning away. Just not noticing, not engaging.
Ouch. That silence can be deafening. Presence is powerful.
That magical power of presence. Like the doctor who was fully present with Ronald Epstein left a lifelong impact.
So how do we cultivate that? He suggests a simple daily practice.
Prepare your space. Clear the clutter. Turn off notifications. And rest your body, sit comfortably. Release tension.
Simple steps to become fully present, ready to actually notice what's essential.
Okay, so we've cultivated the state. Now, how do we take effortless action? Part 2 is about making the work itself easier.
And it starts, maybe counterintuitively, at the end, Principle 6, define what done looks like.
Clarity is key, right? If you don't know where the finish line is, how can you pace yourself? How do you even know when to stop?
You can end up exerting endless effort, like the Vasa warship story. Tragic.
Oh, the Swedish warship that sank on its maiden voyage?
Yeah, because King Gustav kept changing the plan after they started building. Make it longer, add more cannons, more sculptures.
So the goalposts kept moving.
Constantly. 400 people worked incredibly hard, but they never had a stable definition of done. It became top-heavy, unstable.
And sank less than a mile out. A massive waste of effort because the target was blurry.
The lesson. Vague goals make things impossible. You need clarity on completion.
So the practical advice is, visualize completion for 60 seconds. Really picture it. And create a done-for-the-day list.
Not everything you could possibly do. Just the essential few things that mean real progress. What makes you feel satisfied?
Okay, got the target. Now, getting started. Often the hardest part, Principle 7. Start. The first obvious action.
Overcoming that inertia, right? Just identify the absolute smallest, most obvious first step.
Like Reed Hastings with Netflix. Huge vision, right? Streaming, algorithms.
But his first action? He mailed a DVD to himself. Simple test. Cost almost nothing.
Tested the core concept. Can we mail DVDs without them breaking? Tiny step, huge validation.
Or that woman stuck on decluttering her living room because she couldn't find her tape measure.
Yeah, seems silly, but it paralyzed her. The first obvious action. Find the tape measure. Or just go buy one.
It's about breaking the overwhelm. Taking that tiny step creates momentum for the next one.
He calls it the minimum viable first action. What's the smallest thing you can do to learn the most or get moving?
Yeah.
Like Airbnb just posting a few photos initially.
Maximum learning, minimum effort. And he mentions microbursts too.
Yeah, 10-15 minutes of focused work. Just start. And the power of 2.5 seconds, our psychological present, Just decide in that tiny window to begin.
Okay, so we're starting small. Next, simplify. Start with 0.
This isn't just making existing steps easier. It's about removing them altogether.
Amazon's one-click purchase. Genius.
Totally. They didn't streamline the checkout. They obliterated most of it. Huge advantage.
Or Lou Gerstner at IBM turning off the projector.
Huh. Yeah. Let's just talk about your business. Cut through the noise, the unnecessary layers, get to the essence.
Steve Jobs with the first iMovie. Drag video, click burn in, that's it.
Started from 0. What's the absolute minimum needed for the user to get the result?
It reminds me of that Agile Manifesto principle. Simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done, is essential.
Exactly. Focus only on what adds value. Eliminate the rest.
Like Paul McCready and his Gossamer Condor, the human-powered plane.
Right. His competitors built these beautiful, complex machines that crashed and took ages to fix.
McCready's was ugly, simple, made with basic materials. But crucially, it was easy to repair. Broom handle and duct tape kind of repair.
So he could test it hundreds of times, learn rapidly, while the others were stuck rebuilding. Simplicity enabled progress.
Even if it looked rubbish initially, which leads perfectly into the next principle. Progress. The courage to be rubbish.
Oh, this is so important, especially for creative work or anything complex.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to start imperfectly.
Pixar calls it the ugly baby philosophy. Early ideas are awkward, unformed. You have to protect them, let them grow.
Yeah, perfectionism is the enemy of progress here. So many great ideas probably die because people are afraid to produce something that isn't polished right out of the gate.
So how do we get over that? He talks about failing cheaply.
Making learning-sized mistakes, like the author teaching his kids about money with their allowance.
Right. The son buys the $40 racing car, regrets it because he wanted Legos. Learns a valuable lesson when the stakes are low.
Exactly. Gain experience without catastrophic consequences. And for things like writing, the zero-draft approach.
Just get words on the page. Any words, don't edit, don't judge, just dump it out.
Liberating, isn't it? Removes that pressure of the blank page staring back at you. You can always refine a rubbish draft. You can't refine nothing.
So true. Okay, final principle for effortless action. Pace. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
Rejecting that urge to just power through, burn the midnight oil. It's about finding a sustainable rhythm.
The South Pole race example is classic. Amundsen versus Scott.
Amundsen. Steady pace. Exactly 15 miles a day. No more, no less. Rain or shine. Methodical.
Scott pushed hard on good days, collapsed on bad days, inconsistent, burned out his team.
And the results speak for themselves. Amundsen got there and back safely. Scott and his team perished. Consistency wins.
It's that sustainable rhythm, like Janice Tapp Perry writing 2 songs a week, every week.
And boom, 9 months later, 100 songs done. Not by heroic bursts, but steady chipping away.
Or Ben Bergeron, the trainer, leaving the office at 5:25 p.m. every single day.
Non-negotiable. Protects recovery, prevents burnout, ensures long-term consistency.
So the strategy is finding your right range.
Yeah, a lower bound, I'll never do less than X, keeps you moving. And an upper bound, I'll never do more than Y, prevents burnout.
Gives you flexibility, but within boundaries. Especially useful in our crazy VUCA world. Volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous, rigid plans break, ranges adapt.
Okay, so we've got the state, we've got the action. Now part 3, achieving effortless results, making our efforts go further.
And it starts with learn. Leverage the best of what others know.
This is about shifting from linear results, where effort equals output 1-to-1, to residual results.
Effort once, benefits again and again. Leverage.
The Kiva microloan platform is a perfect illustration. You lend money once, right?
Yeah, say $25.
The entrepreneur uses it, repays it, but instead of getting cash back, you get Kiva credit. You can then reloan that same $25 to someone else.
Ah, so your initial effort keeps working indefinitely, supporting multiple people over time.
That's residual results. And this connects to learning first principles.
Understanding the fundamentals, the core ideas, not just isolated facts. Elon Musk's semantic tree.
Exactly. Know the trunk and main branches before you worry about the leaves. It gives you a framework you can apply again and again.
And for reading, he suggests focusing on older books, Lindy effect, reading to really absorb, not just finish.
And crucially, distilling what you learn, summarizing in your own words. That's how you turn information into usable knowledge.
Which helps you build unique knowledge, stuff that's easy for you but hard for others.
That's where the real leverage is, like Dick Fosbury and his high jump technique.
The Fosbury flop. Everyone else was going over forwards. He went backwards at first.
Weird, they call him lazy. But it worked way better for him. leveraged his understanding of physics, won Olympic gold. Being good at what others aren't doing pays off hugely.
Okay, next. Lift. Harness the strength of 10. Multiply your impact by empowering others.
Teaching others to teach. Project Protect making those 5 million masks in 5 weeks.
Astounding. They didn't make them all themselves. They created an army of volunteers who could make them and train others. Decentralized power.
That's the leverage. And stories are key here. Think Aesop's fables.
Simple stories, easily remembered, easily repeated. They turn the audience into teachers. Spreads the message effortlessly.
And the act of teaching itself deepens your own understanding. You learn it better when you have to explain it.
So keep it simple. The Sesame Street simple rule.
Yeah, make it easy to grasp, easy to pass on. Avoid jargon and complexity. Straightforward and shareable wins.
Right, then we get to automate. Do it once and never again.
Taking recurring effort off your plate, freeing up mental bandwidth, ensuring consistency.
That story about the surgical error, leaving an instrument inside a patient because they relied on memory. Chilling.
Absolutely tragic. And completely preventable with simple automation, like a checklist.
Checklists are so powerful, but so underestimated. Like for the B-17 bomber.
Yeah.
Complex plane, early test flights crash because pilots forgot steps.
Checklists solved it. Baked the thinking in. Made it routine, effortless, safe.
And you can automate bigger things too, making single choices that eliminate future decisions.
Like the Richards family buying that lodge in Montana. One decision, decades ago.
And boom, annual family holidays sorted. For generations. No yearly planning nightmare, automated connection.
That's brilliant. And technology obviously is huge here. High tech for low effort.
The Do Not Pay Robot Lawyer app, automating parking ticket appeals, canceling subscriptions, tedious stuff gone.
Or Expedia automating itinerary resends. Saved millions in customer service costs, countless hours.
And we can apply this everywhere, right? Recurring appointments, birthday reminders, auto savings, shopping lists.
Mentor meetings, even scheduling time for fun. Set it and forget it.
Yeah.
Let the system handle the repetition.
Okay, penultimate principle, trust. The engine of high leverage teams.
Trust is like lubricant for collaboration. High trust equals low friction, less effort needed.
That Warren Buffett deal buying McLean from Walmart, $23 billion.
Based on a 2-hour meeting and a handshake. No due diligence.
Unbelievable. Think of the time, the lawyers, the cost saved, just because of deep trust.
It shows the immense value of trust, and it applies hugely to hiring.
Hire trustworthy people, and so much else becomes easier. Steve Hall's nightmare with the controller who stole $1.6 million.
Yeah, devastating. He learned the hard way and adopted Buffett's 3 I's. Integrity, intelligence, initiative.
Integrity first.
Absolutely paramount. One good hire based on trust saves years of headaches and oversight. Effortless results flow from that.
And he suggests using a high trust agreement up front.
Yeah, clarifying results, roles, rules, resources, rewards, gets everyone on the same page, aligns incentives, prevents misunderstandings later, makes collaboration smooth.
Okay, last one. And maybe the most powerful for long-term ease. Prevent. Solve the problem before it happens.
It's always easier to prevent a fire than to fight one, right?
Yeah.
Stop problems at the root.
The story of Ali Malin, the last smallpox patient, sobering.
Yeah. He skipped a simple vaccination. It seemed like a small thing, but it triggered a massive global effort to contain the potential outbreak.
One tiny preventative act avoided a huge, complex, effort-intensive response.
So the strategy is root cause analysis. Find those recurring annoyances, those little fires you keep putting out.
And ask, what's the next step I can take right now to move towards solving this at the root?
Stop hacking at the branches. Strike at the root.
Like those hospital rapid response teams.
Exactly. They spot subtle warning signs hours before a cardiac arrest. Early detection prevents the crisis, reduces code blues, saves lives, effortless prevention.
And that old adage, measure twice, cut once.
So crucial. The French railway building trains too wide for the platforms. $65 million mistake.
All because one assumption wasn't double-checked early on. A tiny bit of prevention avoids massive downstream effort and cost.
So, yeah, wrapping it all up, Effortless is really a powerful argument that the path to achieving what matters most doesn't have to be this constant grinding struggle.
It's about working smarter, finding ease, making things lighter, simpler.
Making the essential things sustainable and ultimately more achievable.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into Effortless, Make It Easier to Do What Matters Most by Greg McKeown. Really fascinating stuff.
It really is. Lots to think about.
Absolutely. So thank you all for joining us today on the Pod and the Page. If you got something valuable out of this discussion, please do give the video a like.
Yeah, it helps others find it.
And definitely subscribe to the Last Highlight channel so you don't miss our next deep dive.
And maybe just one final thought to leave you with.
Yeah.
McKeown shares quite vulnerably about his daughter Eve's serious illness and how even in that immense hardship, consciously choosing the easier path, focusing on what was essential and sustainable, not just pushing through, was critical for their family to endure and even thrive. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What if our greatest strength isn't just raw perseverance through difficulty, but actually the wisdom to deliberately seek out the simpler, more elegant, more effortless solution? Not just for our tasks, but maybe for our lives themselves.
Something to definitely ponder. Thanks again for tuning in, everyone.